All right, team. How we doing? Coach Dana Cavalea here with you. Just want to check in with everybody. Hope you're having a great week so far, and you've gotten everything done that you've wanted to get done. I know for me, I started this week on a mission. I had a bunch of things to get done, and I'm getting through a lot of them. But here it is Thursday, and I still have a bunch of things that I have to get done still. But it's all right. We're gonna get there. And I've been reading a lot lately. I haven't had some extra time like you guys, and I read a bunch of different books and a bunch of different articles, etc. And there's a common theme I see as it relates to the word quitting. So I'm just trying to get this right here. And what's interesting is we're taught never to quit, not to quit. Don't quit. Quitting's bad. And in my book, Habits of a Champion, I shared my story with you, and my story in life, I had to quit a few things a couple times. I had to quit relationships, I had to quit jobs, I had to quit teams, I had to quit businesses. And it's amazing how there's so much talk about not quitting. Never quit. Quitting, the worst thing you could do is quit. Sorry, I have my feed here so I can see you guys when you come on. So a lot of people say never quit. Quitters are losers. And I got to tell you, for me, every time that I've quit something, I've actually gone on to win. And then I get to the point where I may have to quit something else. So quitting has actually been a part of transition for me. So it's always been a good thing. So quitting is not something that's a bad thing, because there's things that we do that don't serve us. Sometimes we need to quit the things that we've been doing for a long time because we need to quit in order to find a better way. So quitting can oftentimes be a catalyst for change, Silvana, right? So if we quit something, we then have the opportunity to go and pursue something else, something new, something fresh. It's like sometimes we have to quit doing things the way that we've always done them, so we can start to do things in a new way that's better for who we are right now, that serves us better for who we are right now. So we got to remember that. It's not a bad thing to quit. And I see these sayings. I have a couple quotes here. Like a saying that says, never give up. Well, think about if you were in a bad relationship and you never gave up. Think about if you had a business that was losing money and you never gave up. Think about if you were in a position in life that you hated, whether it was a job or a business you were running, and you never gave up. You see how a saying like that, never give up, if you put that in your head, you'll actually never give up. And I got a story to tell about that. I was running a bunch of gyms for a while, and I invested a lot of money and a lot of time into these training facilities and into these gyms. And I was giving it everything that I had. Again, financially, I was giving it everything I had. Time, everything I had. Vision, everything. I gave it everything that I had. And then one of them started to lose a little bit of money. And the one thought that never came to my mind was actually quitting until I talked to one of my clients. I did a story with him the other day, Brandon Steiner, and he said, why don't you just quit that place and close it? And I said, what? I can't do that. Because in my mind, I told myself I can't quit, right? Because quitters never win. That's another one, right? Quitters never win. And winners never quit. That's something we put in our head. Never give up. Again, we say that to ourselves, and then our actions match that. But in life, we have to quit things. Because when we quit things, we open ourselves up to greater possibility and greater opportunity. So I'm starting to think that a lot of these sayings were developed and created by people that never really wanted change. But what happens if you don't quit a bad relationship? What happens if you don't quit that business that's failing? You're going to go down with it. So quitting is not a bad thing. Before you quit, remember why you started. I don't think we forget why we started. We love what we do. We just may not be doing it the right way or the best way. So quitting is a good thing. Quitting, the reason you even think of quitting is because something's not working. It's not oftentimes, I'm just going to wake up today and say I'm going to quit. It's not working. It's not serving you. So therefore, quitting becomes a really great option, and it opens you up to a new frontier, greater possibilities of what sits in front of you. So it's not always that we have to quit and never do what we're doing again. We just oftentimes have to quit and do things in a better way, right? And when we do that, yes, we get to put ourselves in a better position. We get to make better choices, and we get to live a life that we want to live or that we feel better about. And the way I look at life, and I look at life in terms of relationships, business, life as a whole, is we're sort of just going up these steps. And every step has new challenges. And then we go to the next step once we achieve. It's sort of like, what's up, Corey Disson? It's like going up to different levels. It's like going up different tiers. And every time we get to a new step, we're going to hit new challenges. And it reminds me of a story I want to share with you. And you guys may not know this because, I spent most of my career with the Yankees in professional sports. But when I was in college, Jill, I actually worked at Busch Gardens, and I was the guy on the back of the tram that would welcome people to the park. And I got to tell you, the people that I worked with, a lot of them would drive me crazy because I couldn't understand why they think the way they think. And it would drive me nuts. And then I went home and I saw one of my roommates who actually ended up working for NASA. And he told me, D, I want you to remember this. Life is like a ladder. And right now you're on this rung of the ladder, but the difference between you and those people that you work with is they're going to stay on that rung and you're moving to the next one. So I was facing challenge at that level, but I was facing challenge on my way to the next level, right? So we had to start to climb those different levels. So I quit that job. I wasn't going to stay there forever, and then I moved to my next position. So when I talk about quitting, it's not quitting and saying, okay, I'm done. I'm going to sit in the corner. I'm going to be a recluse, and I'm not going to be a winner. It's saying I'm going to quit things so that I can put myself in the best possible position, Corey Disson, so I could win. And that's why we quit things. We quit things that do not serve us so we can advance ourselves to get to the next place. There is a quote that I found quite interesting. It says, if you quit once, it becomes a habit. Now, quitting once doesn't become a habit. If you quit multiple times, it just means you're probably making bad choices, so you're being forced to quit, right? So I believe you have to always challenge yourself, but realize this: quitting is a part of growth. Quitting is a part of finding what it is you're supposed to do. Now, if you find yourself quitting with frequency, it may mean you're a little bit confused on what it is that you want to do, should be doing, need to be doing, and you may have that urge over and over again to quit. It's just because you're out of position. You're not in the right position just yet, but you're working hard to get yourself there, and eventually you will get there. But you gotta embrace quitting when it's necessary, and you also have to realize that at times, we do things that maybe we're doing them because we're trying to find our way, and that's okay too. That's a part of life. Life is about process. Life is about finding our next step. Like I told the story about the rungs on the ladder, Michael Dusa, right? We're always advancing ourselves, and there's gonna be things we do where we're going to have to quit in order to be great. I mean, there's so many things that I've quit in my life, and I'm sure if you guys think about your life, it'll be the same thing, right? I'm sure you had jobs that didn't serve you. I'm sure you played on teams that you didn't really like. I'm sure you were in relationships that didn't serve you. So you quit. And in quitting, you found something better. Maybe you found something worse, but then you found something better. So remember, the path is not always linear. It's oftentimes that zigzag and that up and down. That's sort of what it is. So just embrace that. But don't be afraid to quit things that don't work. And now, again, we're in the middle of a sabbatical, if you will. We have a time to ask ourselves, what am I doing in life that I like? What am I doing in life that I'm not crazy about? Okay, I'm going to quit those things. Like for me, I'm going to give you a story about this time period for me. I was a guy that would always go to the gym, always train, right? But I wasn't training hard. So I quit being mediocre at my daily training, because I know the harder I train, the better I feel, the more I have to give, the more my energy soars, and it's a win all the way around. So I quit lying to myself about how hard I was actually working, because I was doing the work, but I wasn't working very hard, right? So we have to quit at different times. We have to quit giving ourselves excuses. Today I was talking to a client who was holding himself prisoner to the market, right? The market goes up, the market goes down. We make money some days, we lose money on other days. And I said, you need to quit holding yourself prisoner to the thought process that you have that's not serving you anymore, right? You feel like crap because of what you're telling yourself. You feel like crap because you are not seeing your own talents and the opportunity that sits in front of you. You're holding yourself prisoner to a negative result based on an external. So I told him, you have to quit that thought process in exchange for a better one. Well, how do I do that, coach? You realize what you're telling yourself. You realize what you're doing each day. We have so many hours of consciousness per day that we're actually awake and we're up and we're aware, right? But what are we doing with our time? I know myself, I'm pretty efficient, but I waste a lot of time. I really do. I could do so much more but I don't do it. So I'm always thinking, how do I maximize my time? And I do that when I can own my schedule. It gives me more time to work and it gives me more time to have fun. So these are the things that we have to be thinking about. We need to quit doing stupid things that don't serve us. What I say, we have to quit engaging in our energy draining activities or our EDAs, and we need to focus more on our IPAs, which are our income producing activities, right? And that goes for our thought. Are we getting a return on our negative thoughts? Probably not. Are we getting a return on not training? Probably not, right? So we have to think about this, but quitting is not a bad thing. So again, a couple quotes I started with today for those that are just coming on is never give up. Horrible advice. Quitters never win. Horrible advice. Before you quit, remember why you started. I think we all remember why we started. We were hopeful. We were ambitious. We knew that we wanted to do something great. And then if you quit once, it becomes a habit. And that's certainly not true. So when we take all that information and we think about our life, all the times that we've quit, jobs, teams, relationships, activities, ways of thinking, ways of doing things, and exchange those for something better, what happened to our life? Chances are we accelerated a little bit. Maybe not like this, but we got an acceleration on the curve, and that's what we want. That's what we aim for. So again, take an inventory of what you have going on and ask yourself, what are some things that I could probably quit now? What are some things that I should probably quit today as soon as possible? Things that I should quit saying, things that I should quit doing, people I should quit being around. And when I put all that together, you know what happens? You start to live a better life with less resistance, less stress, less BS, and you start to feel really good about what you're doing. But the one benefit I get in coaching a lot of people is I get to hear so many excuses. And people can't quit their excuses. They have these ideas in their head of all the things that they have to do and then that they need to do, or this is just how it is, and they believe these lies that they tell themselves. But if you really want to do something and you really want to make something happen and you really want change, that frustration and that pain will trip your system and throw you into doing these new things, which in turn means you have to quit doing the old things and quit doing the things that were not serving you. So and this is a simple lesson, but I always say, don't be afraid to quit. If you're 65, you could still quit. If you're 25, you can quit things. And it's okay. I've done it multiple times, and every time on that pivot, it's been better and better and better and better, right? We're all in this together, right? I don't speak to you from a place of, hey, I'm better than you. I'm speaking to you from a place of, hey, I'm in there with you, and I get it. I get the things that you're dealing with. I feel that pain at times. I've been there. I go through it too. But the one thing I always have to do is catch myself and know when I'm lying to myself, BSing myself, tricking myself into thinking something's working when it isn't, and then having the courage and the guts to say I'm done and I'm going to go do it a new way. And that is so true, right? Make that pivot. Make the pivot. And on the other side of that pivot is going to be something better for you, but you got to commit to it. Don't lie to yourself. Cut the cord. It's going to be all right. Make the change, make the pivot, and in the end, you're going to feel really good about that new life that you're starting to take on and build. All right, we get crazy sometimes. We think that this is it, And it's not it. It's only it if you want it to be it. But it doesn't have to, right? I think, for those of you that are on the line that are maybe in the fitness industry right now, things are a little bit different, right? For those of you that maybe own a small business, things are a little bit different. But we're going to find a way. We're going to pivot, and we're going to find a way to do things, right? So we were almost forced to quit the way we were doing it, and now we got to go find a new way to do it. And in doing so, man, there's going to be opportunity ahead, because even so, in just quitting, you're going to start to think about things different. We're all experiencing this right now. When things are taken away from us, it's amazing how creative we get, how resourceful we get. When we can't do this, the go-getter in us says, well, okay, then I have to do that. And we start to figure things out. And that's what's so great about the human spirit. So no matter where you are, right? If there's something that's not serving you, people that aren't serving you, or things that are not serving you, just call that time out and quit. And you can move yourself forward and start grinding and moving towards things that are good for you and things that serve you. And that's really what I wanted to share with you today. If I didn't quit, doing some things, I wouldn't have written this book, right? And there's a host of other things. There's businesses that I wouldn't have started. There's a coaching company that I wouldn't have begun. Speaking on stages, I never would have done any of these things because I would have been so complacent just coaching athletes. That's all I do is coach athletes. I train professional baseball players, and that's all I do. But I made some changes, and I continued to pivot forward, getting into business, working with individuals on executive type coaching, building some other businesses off of that. And that's what we get the opportunity to do when we quit doing the things that either we're bored of, don't serve us, don't excite us anymore. So again, I say to you today, embrace quitting where you need to quit. And on the other side of that is the feeling of growth and forward movement and progression, which is going to make you feel really good about yourself and everything else that you're doing. So again, that's my message for you tonight. I hope you enjoy, and I'll continue to come on when I can to keep everybody excited. And I always appreciate your time, spending even just a couple minutes with me here and listening to the rants. And like I said, we're all in this together. I'm certainly not better than anybody on this line. I speak to you from my heart, and I speak to you the way I'd want to be spoken to. So thank you, Jill. Jill and I went to college together at USF. Go Bulls. And I thank all of you for coming on, and I'll see you all real soon. Stay safe, stay strong,